How we doing, guys? DG Trading 101 here, back with another audio blog. Sorry it's been a while. I've been pretty busy. I have something today that, I think I found a good one, and I want to talk about a few things, four things in particular that I think primarily hold traders back from growing their first account. So this is mainly directed towards people who are growing their first account, but really, I think anyone can benefit from them. So let's jump right into it. The first thing that I want to discuss is market open trading. Everybody wants to trade the market open. It's the most exciting time of the day. You're wide-eyed and excited, and everything is moving with extreme volatility. If you're a newer trader trying to build your first account, I really think that you should be, completely avoiding this time of the day. I know that's not what you want to hear. I know doesn't sound fun. It's most conducive to you, preserving your capital. Capital preservation is priority number one. Everyone jumps into their first account and their only goal is, all right, I need to make a ton of money. That's all I want to do. But that's not the goal when you're first starting out. Capital preservation is learning that skill is a lot more important. So that's priority number one. And I think, the way to start doing that is to avoid the open. And I think the best thing you could possibly do is open a paper account and trade that from like 9:30 to 10, the first half hour. You can get the experience, of trading open action without the consequence. Obviously it's never going to be the same as the real thing, but it's a good start. You can get a feel for price action and kind of feel involved without being involved. I think that's the best way to do it, and then at 10 o'clock, when everything starts to calm down a little bit and, setups start to emerge, then open up your real money account and, start your trading day. By this time, trends start to form, stocks gravitate and, they make moves to and above VWAP, stock rips, it shows its cards, things of that nature. You can get a lot more clear picture of what's going on by 10 o'clock. It's just a much more high probability time to trade, right? There is a time to trade the open. I love trading the open, and it can be very profitable. But as an aspiring trader trying to build capital and focus on capital preservation, that is not the time to go all cowboy at 9:30, right, with size. It's a terrible idea. If you haven't tried it yet, you'll find out soon enough. So having the paper account for the first 30 minutes of the day really allows you to participate in the action, without having the consequence. So I think that can be very beneficial. I think you should give it a shot. And you also have to remember that one bad trade out of the open can ruin your entire day and put you in defense mode. If you have a bad trade right out of the gate, then immediately your mentality goes to, crap, I need to make that back, right? That's the mode you go into. And then all kinds of bad stuff happen. I know, at least for me, if I have a bad trade right out of the gate, typically my day doesn't go so well. I usually either compound the loss or, spend most of the day trying to make it back and just not making good decisions. It's just not the best. It's not the best feeling. So the best way to avoid that is, especially early on, is to just not be trading during that time, right? Seems simple and obvious, but not many people are willing to do that or have the discipline to do that. But I think you should try it. I think it'll help. Really any struggling trader. Are you here because you think this is a game and this is entertainment for you? Are you here because you're serious about trading and you want to actually make money, right? If it's the latter, then you should seriously consider this suggestion. It works, right? How to actually trade the market open based off of pre-market action and daily charts and analysis is another topic that I can get into, in the future. But right now, if you're just growing your first account, I really think avoiding the first half hour of the day would be very beneficial, and you should give that a shot. So that's reason, point number one. Point number two, and this is one of the most important ingredients that you need in your trading, and that is owning your own ideas and trades. You have to own your ideas. I can't stress that enough. You absolutely have to create and own your ideas. If you don't, you'll never develop true conviction in your trading. If you find yourself taking a trade just because you saw a well-respected Twitter guy taking it or talking about it, or if your chat room ringleader is taking it, that is not a reason to take a trade, right? If you ever find yourself taking a loss on a trade, losing confidence and then just staring at your chat room looking for any idea, in full sheet mode, that's what we're trying to avoid at all costs. Because here's the thing that you aren't considering when you see someone else post or take a trade, right? You don't know what their plan is for the most part. You don't know how much capital they've got, what they're working with, what their risk tolerance is, whether or not they're adding on the way up or down, how long they plan on holding. Are they scalping? Is it a swing? Whether or not, if their initial idea doesn't work, are they going to stop and try again? Are they going to add? It's just never a good idea to be a follower without all the facts. And you'll never have all the facts if you're following somebody else, right? Here's the real issue, broken down a little deeper. And I'll use a personal example. Well, at the time I wrote this blog, it was recent, but now it's, over a year old. But it happened to me, and it was one of the reasons that I wrote this point in the blog. There was a big pharmaceutical company, Sage Therapeutics, Sage, S-A-G-E. This was back in the middle of 2016, but it gapped up on, huge positive trial results. And Adam F. was tweeting about it pre-market, saying that he really loved the company and that the trial results were actually very good and there was a lot of potential there, and he really liked it. So, Adam F. is an extremely well-respected guy in the community, if not the most respected biotech opinion out there, to me at least. So I read his tweets and, immediately developed a long bias on the name, right? Naturally. I said, well, Adam likes it, and typically most of the stuff, 99% of the companies that he talks about is the companies he doesn't like. So when he actually says something positive, you got to think, oh, wow, this one must be good. So I developed a long bias on it, but I didn't come into the day looking at the Sage chart thinking, oh, I want to long this, based on the chart or something that I saw. I was taking someone else's opinion and idea, right? And that's problem number one right there. So I saw it have a week open. And I tried to long the washout in the morning, right? And it's just, it washed out, and then it just continued to trade heavy. So I added a little more, and it stayed heavy, added a little more, and then an hour and a half later, I ended up eating, a pretty sizable 4-figure loss on it. I don't remember the number, but I lost like $5,000 or $6,000 on that trade, that I wasn't even planning on. If he never tweeted that, I would have never been in that trade. That's on me, obviously. That's my fault. The whole point is that it wasn't my idea, right? I stayed in that trade and I added. I was being governed by an outside source. I didn't feel accountable for the idea. I just kept hoping that it would turn around and work, and I was basing that hope on someone else's idea instead of listening to the chart and the price action and my own thoughts. And those are the risks you run when following someone else's idea. Was Adam wrong about Sage? No, he ended up being right, bigger picture. But that particular day, it was catastrophic to be a Sage long. And that was part of the problem. It wasn't my idea. I didn't really have a great plan. And I got what I deserved because of that. There are a million ways to make money in the market. But if you collect all of the successful traders that while there's a myriad of different styles and processes there, they all have one common trait. They're independent thinkers. That's why they are where they are today. They didn't get there following someone else's ideas. They learned to become self-sufficient. And this must be your primary goal if you ever hope to develop true conviction and any long-term success in your trading. Absolutely have to own your ideas. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, reality checks. I think you should have, I call it an oh shit handle, or essentially, a max risk number on every trade, right? Duh. An immediate, no questions asked, bailout number for every trade. If it hits this number, you're out. That should be in place for every new aspiring trader. And I think what you should do, and what I used to do, is keep that amount of money in cash at your desk. So say your max risk on a trade is $300, right? Where you should stop out, no questions asked. Keep $300 cash at your desk. And if a trade starts to go red on you, look at the money, pick it up, realize just how much money that actually is to you now that you're physically holding what you're about to lose or more. If you don't make the right decision here, it may help bring you back to reality a little bit, give you a little more conviction to help you stop out of that losing trade. That's clearly not working. It is so easy to get disconnected from reality when you're just staring at numbers on a screen all day, right? You lose sight of just how much money you're actually dealing with in trading and the value of money. And it gets 10 times worse when you get margin involved, right? So, just in general, here's what I mean. I'll use a quick example, right? If I said, hey, Johnny just graduated from college and he got a great job at X company, he's making $50 an hour. Your reaction would probably be, wow, that's a great salary. Good for Johnny. He's killing it, right? But for most of us, if we place a trade, and then pike out of it for $50 profit a few minutes later, we think, ugh, I always sell too soon for such tiny gains, because it's nothing more than a number on a screen, right? It's not real yet. Even though you just made in a few minutes the same $50 that it took Johnny, who's killing it, remember, an hour to make, right? And Johnny's got to go to work. He's got to deal with shitty coworkers. He's got to sit in rush hour traffic. And your bum ass just gets to roll out of bed and you can make $50 in 5 minutes, right? On a scalp. To you, that's crap. Like, ugh, I piked out. I stink, right? So we're talking about the same exact amount of money here, right? $50 is $50. Yet Johnny, who is doing great, making a fantastic salary, is awesome. And then here's you, the trader, who makes $50, and you're a moron who sells too soon, for tiny gains and hates themselves. That's obviously an extreme example, but you see the disconnect, right? It sounds silly when you think about it like that, but that's really how we see these things, right? It's the same amount of money. You just flip the circumstances around a little bit and everything changes. The reality of trading is that there's a huge lack of reality, ironically enough, right? That's why initially when I was starting out, before I really, had set rules, is I would keep that max risk amount of cash at my desk. And I really do think it helped keep me grounded on the reality of what those numbers on a screen really were. When a trade approached my max risk and I sensed that I may be getting stubborn on closing it, that helped me. So really, use any tips and mental tricks that you can to bring yourself back to reality as a trader. You don't have to do that, the cash at your desk. You can think of some other ways. Just get creative. Everybody's different. Whatever works for you works. Any way to try and, rein yourself back in, right? Staring at numbers on a screen all day can feel very inconsequential and disconnecting. And reality doesn't really set in until the next day when you see your trading account significantly worth less than it was the day before. That's when reality really sets in. So do anything you can to try and avoid that, okay? So that's point number 3. Point number 4, you know what? I just realized this is kind of getting a little long-winded here. Point number 4 is kind of long. I think I'm just going to save that. We'll do that next time. But those are just a couple of things that really helped me early on, so I figured I'd pass them along. Give them a shot. Try taking them seriously, even if you don't like the thought of it. You won't really know if it's going to help or not until you try it, so I think it's worth a shot. Try them out, and let me know how it works. All right, guys. Catch you next time.